think it's fascinating to think about what the possibilities are that are available, and more than I think most people know is already possible. I wanted to ask Mr. McBride a little bit more about the, if you could expand on types of testing that NASA and FAA are doing with regard to UTM, and how this is going to change as we go forward. There's, is it, I assume it's simulation-based testing right now, and what about moving to real-world testing as this progresses, so that we actually know that it's going to all work when it gets going?
It is simulation-based testing, but also integrating actual UAS or UAV flight test and surrogates in flight test. We're doing a virtual airspace test for a weekend, fly over restricted airspace at Edwards Air Force Base, but overlay that data real time with real traffic in busy FAA traffic sectors. So we're flying UAVs in restricted airspace with no traffic around it, but the FAA controllers are seeing that flight overlaid on top of actual busy traffic. We're taking that also to flying our UAVs in busy traffic corridors. Again, I mentioned this past summer we did the UAS, the NAS, No Chase COA, where we flew through the Central Valley of California in and amongst air traffic, and air traffic controllers saw and spoke to the aircraft as if it were a manned aircraft. So we're doing both virtual and simulated, and overlaying both of those together to mimic the real airspace.
And how do you envision the certification working for the new unmanned systems?
NASA's working together with the FAA to develop MOPS, minimum operating procedures and standards, to develop those basic rules. The original starting point for FAA is with a manned pilot with detect and avoid, as a human eye could detect and avoid and maneuver to avoid other aircraft or terrain. And so NASA's developing, along with FAA and our partners at DHS and DoD, standards that'll enable a baseline for that minimum operation standards that an industry could then manufacture or design to.
And I want to ask Mr. Allison, right now we have a robust network of businesses that support aircraft operations, companies that provide ground handling, fueling, maintenance, passenger accommodations. How do you see all this changing?
Thank you for the question. We've taken a very partnership-forward approach in everything we've done with Elevate, and so we actually look forward to partnering with many of the companies that do various different types of operations right now in the current types of typical commercial operations, as we develop the Elevate network of air taxis going forward. So we think there's great opportunities to both expand businesses and create new businesses around these types of electric aircraft, which will have some new and unique types of maintenance and operational considerations, but an opportunity to expand existing offerings to partner with us to bring this to the world.
And where do you envision this, the maintenance and all the other ground operations happening at airports as they exist now, or envision something else?
So we envision a network of relatively short-range all-electric aircraft. So our mission specification that we've derived from very extensive simulations that we do of existing traffic patterns in cities suggests that an aircraft with a range of something like 60 miles, max range of 60 miles plus a reserve, after that, will then operate within the network kind of in an average trip length of about 25 to 30 miles. And so they're relatively short-range things. And so what we have to do is have essentially maintenance depots and hubs on the outskirts of the areas where we'll be operating, where there will be the kind of the ongoing types of maintenance that we hope is actually dramatically less than typical aircraft today, because with all-electric aircraft, just as with all-electric cars, the maintenance requirements are much, much lower because the mechanicals are just vastly simplified in these vehicles.
All right. Thank you very much.